last two videos, I did common error in the snatch, common errors in the clean, and now I'm going to do common errors for the jerk, and I'll throw in push press as well. So when we're doing the jerk, okay, again, we want to make sure we're in that rack position. Check out my last video on the clean to make sure you're not way the heck out here in your rack position. That's called a blown shoulder eventually. Don't do that. Keep that rack in nice and tight. Somewhere in here, okay, but don't go way out there. And so we stay in this nice rack position. And for one of the things I see a lot, common error, is I see a dip but no drive off of the chest or off of the rack position. So there's a dip, a stand, and a press, right? If we're doing like a push press. Even if we're doing a push jerk, right? It's a dip, stand, and then this little dip under thing, okay? What we want to do is we want that dip and drive to get that bell up to about the top of our head. That's about how high we want to go just from the dip and drive. Do not, well, I'll go over that one next. So we want to make sure we get a nice dip and drive, get it up here, and then either press it through if we're doing a push press, or here, press under, and catch in the extended position for the jerk, okay? So another thing that you'll see that happens is, let's look from the side. When I guess we'll do this hand. When I dip straight down. I've seen people in kettlebell support do this little arc back. That's okay. They're supporting the weight. They're going to drive it up from their torso in a nice direct line. They're not really, usually, they're not over hyperextending. I don't like the extension personally. I try to keep it as neutral as possible with my spine, but I do see just a little bit of a bend, and their spine's still pretty good. They're kind of bending forward a little bit with their legs. I don't think they're in a compromised position from what I usually observe. So that's okay. But what is not okay is when I dip, my butt goes back, which means my chest goes forward, which means not only am I trying to hold this weight, but when I drive, I'm going to drive in the direction of my torso, which is up and forward, okay? And that's not only is it not going to land in the right position, it's going to work that muscle so much more. And you're not really getting the drive you want. Like I said before, the whole purpose is I get this thing up in the rack position, and then I'm going to drive it here and then catch. So I'm using my hips and my legs to drive that weight up, which it's a whole lot more powerful than driving with your shoulders. So you're saving yourself work by using stronger muscles, and you're kind of saving your shoulders, essentially what you're doing, okay? The shoulders are still going to work, whether it be a push press or a push jerk, okay? Or the jerk itself, we call it a push jerk because you don't usually move your feet. And so it's going to work either way, but you're going to work more with the push press, but we want to minimize as much as possible by using those legs and hips. And again, they're big, strong muscles. So those are some common things that I see that are errors in the push jerk and the push press for the kettlebell position. If you have any questions, let me know. One other thing I will say, I talked about this in the last video about racking way the heck out here. If I do this, I can do it, but you know what? My torso is not fully supporting that weight. It's basically me driving up. I usually have to keep my shoulder up a little bit here, okay? And then I'm driving. Man, that is working so much more than if I'm in this rack position, upper arm connected to my torso, driving with my chest, okay? Again, I'm using my torso, I'm using my center of gravity. The further you go away from the center of gravity, the heavier things get. That's just physics. If you have any questions, let me know, post them to YouTube. I'll see you next time. Stay strong.